FA Cup final then this weekend. Should be a cracker. Arsenal taking on Chelsea. Ian, it's the only time you're going to be with us this week, so I thought we may as well get your views looking ahead to it. I'm looking forward to it. It should be a good game.
Yeah, it should be a good game between those two. I think Arsenal performed heroically, surprisingly heroically, really, to beat Manchester City in the semi-final. Tremendous defensive display by them and showing a grit we never knew they had. I think they might need to do that again because Chelsea are usually full of goals. But the other thing with Chelsea is they do let in a few as well, don't they? So I think there are going to be goals in this game. And it might be a bit like a basketball match. In fact, I reckon it could be quite a high-scoring final.
Well, that's it, Craig. Isn't it? From a neutral's perspective, you look at Arsenal's attack and Chelsea's weak defence that we've seen over the last few weeks. And Ian's right, we should see goals.
Well, we should, because we can't talk about Chelsea's weak defence without talking about Arsenal's weak defence. So, you know, it could boil down to that. Look, we've seen both managers in recent weeks change the shape, change the personnel, both scratching their heads, looking for an outcome that's preferable to the ones that they've been facing. And so the personnel and team selection is going to be quite difficult to call. But, you know, I think Arsenal showed enough against City, although City were sort of captain calamity and have been on several occasions this season, that front three in particular, if that's the three that starts, and Pepe, Lacazette and Aubameyang are so dangerous on the counter-attack. And we also know Chelsea had a problem in the position in front of the back four in terms of Kante's injury. So it should be a really open game with, you know, and I would be surprised if it's dull and, you know, we're going into the latter stages where it's 0-0. I would be shocked if that's the kind of game we're going to see.
Looking at it, Frank Lampard has received a lot of plaudits, a lot of people impressed with what he's done in his first season. This will be a nice cherry on the cake, Ian.
Yeah, it will be. And I think a lot of people were saying at the start of the season about Chelsea that it's a rookie manager in the Premier League. He's got a lot of young players. They had a transfer ban. It would be a near miracle if they made the top four. Well, they have made the top four. I think Frank Lampard's made some big calls. He dropped his number one goalkeeper a couple of times during the season, including for that final day win over Wolverhampton Wanderers. So he's not shy. Remember, too, that he gave as good as he got in a bit of a shouting match with the Liverpool bench in that game towards the end of the season as well. So Frank Lampard's made quite a big impression, and it really would cap up the season for Chelsea if they could win the FA Cup against Arsenal. But these two teams, remember, have met in 2 FA Cup finals already this century, and Arsenal have won them both.
Oh, more stats, Ian. But Chelsea go into it as favourites, don't they, Ian?
I think they'd probably go as narrow favourites because they finished higher in the league. They performed better in the Premier League. And people are saying, well, can Arsenal do what they did against Manchester City again? Was that a one-off? Can they produce a tactically cute and disciplined performance and maybe get the result that they need? I think maybe that they can, you know. I think Mikel Arteta's definitely got something. It's taking time, and he's going to need money, and he's going to need to rebuild. But there is a different mentality about Arsenal under him. I don't think they could have produced that performance at all in any of their recent seasons, the one they produced to beat Manchester City. So if they can repeat that, and remember, this is their route to European football, their only route to European football, they might just be the hungrier of the two.
So having said all of that, Ian, what's your prediction?
I'm going to go for the upset. I think Arsenal might win it.
Arsenal to win it. Craig, we'll be talking about this a lot, of course, over upcoming days. Just last word, Ian, as I've got you here, just your thoughts on the story that's developing regarding Bournemouth, who, of course, got relegated. And a big controversial point in that relegation was the fact that Aston Villa's match against Sheffield United should have had a goal. Hawkeye wasn't working. Therefore, Aston Villa get the point, which in the end keeps them up. Bournemouth are talking about suing Hawkeye. What do you make of this?
Well, I do feel sorry for Bournemouth because I think they've generally been worth watching and a breath of fresh air and a good story in the Premier League. But you can't go back and sort of re-referee the season. And there's an element of that about all of this. I mean, a Hawkeye, it's worked about 9,000 times correctly. This was the only time it failed. I mean, very tough luck on Bournemouth. And great luck for Aston Villa that it worked that way. But can they really sue the company? I don't know. I'm not a legal brain, and it will get a complicated legal argument. But my gut feeling is they've got to just take it on the chin and get on with it.
Craig?
Well, I'm the opposite for me, and I don't feel sorry for Bournemouth at all. This club's been pathetic on and off the field this season. They've got a minus 25 goal difference. That's one of the key areas of why they've gone down. This is also a club that were involved in the ridiculous, pathetic incident where they were going to report John Moss, the referee, for giving a little bit back to one or two of their players. They had to retract that because they made themselves look utterly stupid. And they're making themselves look that way again. Look, it was not an ideal scenario. We know that. The people that run Hawkeye, the business, the technical boffins, they didn't want it not to be working, but for some reason, it wasn't working. It happens. It happens. And if Bournemouth try and go through with this, it would be absolutely ridiculous. They need to look in before they look out. They went down this season because they were not good enough.